Shohei Ohtani isn't even pitching in the WBC, and his arm is already looking locked and loaded. Baseball's biggest weapon is heating up.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? I'm Harry Ruiz. That's Travis Rodgers, and it's time for Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. On today's show, we've got a first-time caller coming from Mexico telling Dodgers fans something regarding Roki Sasaki. Relax. Clayton Kershaw is about to close the book on one of the greatest careers in baseball history. For real this time. But first, Shohei Ohtani is ramping up on the mound in Miami, and the reports coming out of Team Japan workouts are pretty ridiculous, Travis.
Yeah, I mean, look, anything with Ohtani, I am all ears all the time. Can't wait to get into it on today's episode of Locked On Dodgers, brought to you by MLB The Show 26. Visit MLB.show/LockedOn and use the code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. You can pre-order now. It's available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. It's rated E for everyone.
In less than a week, I'll be able to get the new version. I got my MLB The Show 25 right here in my hand. I can't wait for the new version of this incredible video game. All right, every weekday afternoon, Travis is live from 3 to 6 on 710 ESPN LA as part of the Travis and DeMarco Show. Meanwhile, when I'm not on the mic calling UFC football or Raiders games in Espanol, this is where I post up talking Dodgers baseball every weekday. If this is your first time dropping in, welcome. You're exactly where you should be. And if you're an everydayer, you already know this show runs on your energy. Are you watching on YouTube? Subscribe and turn on your notifications so you're always locked in. Or leave us a 5-star rating if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts to spread the word to more Dodgers fans. And if you ever want to be a part of the show, the Locked On Dodgers listener line is always open. 2793-LOCKED. That's 279-356-2533. Call and leave a voicemail anytime, or you can even text us. Ohtani's arm is heating up. Shohei Ohtani may not be pitching in the World Baseball Classic, but that doesn't mean he's not throwing. In fact, yesterday, Team Japan had their workout out there in Miami, and Ohtani threw a 4-inning simulated outing, logging 59 pitches against live hitters. And Travis, it didn't exactly look like a casual bullpen session, because when Ohtani's out there, you know that everybody's attention is on the field. 18 hitters, struck out 7, and reportedly shattered a few bats along the way. That's pretty typical Shohei Ohtani stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, tell me what else is new, right? That Shohei Ohtani was carving guys up is not exactly breaking news. I got to tell you, I really think that this could get very, very interesting very, very quickly. I think that a lot of times there's a little bit of poker being played by executives, by managers, even by players themselves in spring training about what this player's goals are for the season or what this player's health might be. And these things, I think they're trying to set expectations at a certain level, just so, you know, when the season gets started, nobody is in a weird place as far as, well, you told me that they were feeling great and you got off to a bumpy start. And so I think everybody's kind of always trying to tamp things down a little bit, not in a dishonest way, but just let's push the expectations down to a reasonable level and go from there. The opposite has kind of happened with Shohei Ohtani so far this offseason, and in particular with the pitching stuff. Now, I know he hasn't pitched in the WBC. He's not going to. I know that we haven't really seen him in a real game, if we're calling spring training real games. But every single Dodger person that has talked about it, whether it's Andrew Friedman, whether it's Dave Roberts, whether it's somebody like Dalton Rushing, whether it's somebody that's just, facing him in some simulated games, without exception, everybody is saying he's on another level right now. He's on another level. And I don't know what the goal is this season, but if he wants to win a Cy Young, he might win a Cy Young. I think that Ohtani has come in at a level that is even higher than we've seen before, which is really scary to think about, that if there's another level for him to get to on the mound, I'm not quite sure what that looks like, but that everybody is singing from the same song, whether it's Team Japan, whether it's the Dodgers, whether it's anybody that's seen him is saying, man, I don't know. This guy looks amazing. Wow. If that's what we're doing, when we're typically pushing expectations down, if we're actually pushing them up a little bit right here, I cannot wait to see what he might unleash.
And I'll be 100% honest, Travis. When I heard that he wasn't going to be pitching in the WBC and that his program was going to be, I don't know if paused or modified or somewhere in between, with him playing with Japan instead of staying at Dodgers camp, which is 100% understandable. And it's super cool for baseball to keep expanding its reach. I was like, well, maybe he won't be the Ohtani that we were thinking we would get at the beginning of the season on the mound. With the bat, we know what he's going to do. We know that more than likely he's going to hit a leadoff home run for everybody to be exploding on social media. But pitching was the big question. Then you hear about this simulated 4 innings that he threw out yesterday in Miami, and it's like, man, we're still a week and 6 days away from opening day. He's not going to be the opening day pitcher for the Dodgers. He more than likely will be one of the weekend guys, Saturday or Sunday guys. So he's going to have still 2 more weeks to expand from 59 pitches to potentially 75. And that's a huge leap from what we saw last year, where it was like, all right, 1 inning, 2 innings, 3, and then until right before the playoffs, we saw him get an outing where he was actually qualified to be the winning pitcher. And Ohtani, we know that this guy, he's a unicorn. We can think one thing, and in his body and his way of doing things, something completely different comes out. And I'm completely happy to hear about this. And now I'm like, all right, man, maybe I'm ready to start that Shohei Ohtani for Cy Young campaign. I know that it's difficult. I know that it ain't easy, but if there's somebody that can do it, it's Shohei Ohtani. And I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up winning that award. I know it's early, but why not?
I'm out of the business of saying that there's anything he can't do. You know, yeah, sure. If you told me he'd get, elevate out of the stadium and fly over the scoreboard, I'd be like, yeah, okay. I mean, maybe, there's nothing on a baseball diamond that I don't think he can do. And I think, to your point, that when it comes to getting ready for whatever's coming, he's impossible to predict, because we've just never seen anybody do what it is that he's attempting to do. You have to just throw all of your faith and trust in him to do it the right way, to trust his own body. There's no indication that he does anything other than eat, sleep, and play baseball. So that if he thinks he's got a chance to go do it, then he's got a chance to go do it. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he hits the ground opening weekend and we come on the following Saturday or the following Monday and we got our jaws on the floor. I just wouldn't be surprised by anything with this guy. And I think this is the year. We've seen him say, okay, watch this when it comes to offense. I think this may be the season where he says, okay, watch this when it comes to his work on the mound.
It's eat, sleep, be a good dad, be a good dog dad to Decoy, and play baseball. That's it. Well, sleep a lot is what I'm hearing from Shohei Ohtani, that he loves sleeping. And hey, man, apparently from looking at him, it definitely works. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, quick update from him. Dave Roberts said that his outing with Team Japan on Saturday in the quarterfinals of the WBC against Venezuela will be his last outing with Team Japan. Originally, it was said that he was going to return to Arizona to be with the Dodgers, but now it's okay. He's going to stay with Team Japan until their participation in this tournament ends. That's good. And it's Tuesday at the latest. What's the difference between him flying back on Sunday than him flying back on Wednesday? I don't see no foul, no harm in that situation, but that's something that we were yesterday asking ourselves, Travis. If he pitches 49 throws in the quarterfinals, he could still technically be eligible to go out there in the final. But apparently, from what the Dodgers say, they're like, nope, he's going out there quarterfinals. That's it. And look, this is also great. The communication between the Dodgers front office, the coaching staff, and Team Japan seems to be on the exact same page. They're respecting each other, and it's going good. Shohei ain't pitching. He's not pitching. He's just batting. Yoshi, they're taking care of him. That's it. That's in the best interest from the team that is delving out over $1 billion in contracts between these two players.
Yeah, these two guys can, do whatever you want. They've earned the trust. They've earned the trust of the team. They've earned the trust of their teammates. They've earned the trust of each other. And if they want to stay in Miami through the end of the tournament, then stay in Miami. If you want to come back, then come back. If it's completely, there are not, I know you have young kids. I have older kids. there comes a point where you trust some of them and you trust the other ones a little less. And there are some like, if you tell me that's what you're going to do, great, go do it. I won't even give it a second thought. And there's others like, I'm going to need to know where you are. I'm going to need to know what you're doing. I'm going to need to know who you're with. And Otani and Yamamoto are the two kids you're like, yeah, you're good. Just have a good time. And you know that they're going to come back in one piece. It's just they have earned that trust. And I have no doubts that they'll be ready to go on opening day.
Another quick WBC note, Kike Hernandez was back at Dodgers camp, but he's returning now to be with Team Puerto Rico, who face Italy on Saturday as well. Saturday, Puerto Rico, Italy, noon Pacific, Venezuela, Japan, 6 Eastern. First game FS1, second game on Fox. But let's now go to the action today going down. Next on Locked On Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw already had the perfect ending to his career last October, but his true final appearance might come tonight in the World Baseball Classic. This week's MLB Top 100 highlight is brought to you by MLB The Show 26, the newest edition of the legendary baseball video game franchise. Each week, we're spotlighting players from Locked On's MLB Top 100 list, the elite stars you'll be controlling, building around, and competing with in the show. And today we're highlighting Freddie Freeman. You know what makes Freddie special. The smooth swing, the power to all fields, the consistency, the glove at first base, everything. That same elite production shows up in MLB The Show 26 with upgraded ratings, new animations, and gameplay that feels more realistic than ever. If you're a Dodgers fan, Freeman is one of the centerpieces of the lineup, and in the show, you can build your franchise around him the exact same way. And this year, there's another huge feature. The World Baseball Classic is back in the game. You can take on teams from all over the world using your Diamond Dynasty squad and test your team on the global stage. Or jump into Road to the Show. Create your own player, join the Dodgers alongside Freddie, and see if you can build a career worthy of Cooperstown. That's this week's MLB Top 100 highlight presented by MLB The Show 26, where you can play, manage, and build with your favorite players and teams. If you love talking baseball, you'll love playing it even more. Visit MLBThe.show/LockedOn and use code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for Diamond Dynasty. MLB The Show 26 is available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. Internet connection required.
College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. And this time of year, we're talking early tip-offs all the way to late night West Coast shootouts. There's always action on the board. So FanDuel is giving you a way to turn all of that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost, right? You can build any college hoop parlay that you want. You can take your favorite rivalry games, matchups between ranked teams, whatever you are feeling. You take all of that, you can mix up your spreads, your totals, your player props to match how you see the whole slate playing out. Then you apply that profit boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. Whatever you feel, throw it in, get that profit boost, and you are off to the races. Go bold, go safe, go ride with the team you've been following all season long. It's your parlay, it's your style, now with even more upside behind all of it. Head on over to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game.
If you've been thinking about joining the Everydayer Club, now is the time because you get ad-free shows and access to our group chat on Discord. And if you're signed up before the NCAA tournament tips off, you can get into our Everydayer Club bracket pool on Discord for a chance to win Locked On merch. It'll be a lot of fun. And right now, you can use code MARCH to get your first month free. Head to LockedOnDodgers.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes. Use the code MARCH and get your first month for free. The final chapter for Clayton Kershaw. He already rode off into the sunset once. Now he might get one final moment on the mound because Team USA manager Mark DeRosa revealed that if the United States advances past the quarterfinal round of the World Baseball Classic, Joe Ryan is expected to join the roster, replacing Clayton Kershaw. That means that tonight's game against Canada could mark the end of Kershaw's playing career. Travis, we saw him warm up in that game against Italy. He didn't go in, which it's an interesting situation. Every player that is a part of a major league roster, if they start warming up, they have to pitch. Kershaw, he's retired, so he can do whatever the heck he wants. So once they started putting 2 and 2 together, it's like, wait, we need to allow less runs, so let's bring in Mason Miller, leave Kershaw out there. It's like, okay, will we get to see Kershaw again? Tonight's the last chance.
Yeah, it's funny. I think that what happened against the Italians informs what may happen against the Canadians. And here's what I mean by that. DeRosa blew it, right? Not because they lost the game. Baseball, sometimes you can lose a game. I don't think anybody was upset that the Americans lost to the Italians. It's that they went in there without trying to win the game to the best of their ability, that they thought that they had their ticket punched. That was an opportunity to maybe get Clayton Kershaw in a game. But because the thing got so haywire, you had to kind of change it at the last minute and try to cut some runs down because that differential was potentially coming into play. Because the manager, Mark DeRosa, had shown that he doesn't know the format and did not put his best team forward, now coming into the Canadian game, you can't really mess around with it. You can't really do we want to get everybody in the game. We want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to experience something like this, because he already showed he doesn't take it seriously. He already showed he doesn't know the format. And now if you're just giving Clayton Kershaw a chance to go out there and tip his cap, it's like, what are you doing? Now, maybe if the Americans have a 10-run lead, maybe if they're behind by 10 runs or whatever it is, then you can have something that's a little bit more ceremonial. But he's taken the benefit of the doubt off of the table by what happened with his snafu against Italy. So it kind of puts Kershaw in a position where you can't really use him because it would be showing that you're not doing it seriously again. And it's really unfortunate. Now, I don't have a huge problem with them taking him off the roster. If they're trying to win the team or win the tournament, Ryan was a guy that was supposed to be on the team to begin with. He had a little back injury. He wasn't ready to go. So him coming back into this is not a big deal. Clayton Kershaw was there as kind of a break glass if needed situation. I would love to see him pitch one more time, but I understand if he doesn't. And I certainly don't have a problem with them replacing him as you get closer and closer to that title game.
Yeah, and that's a situation right there that we will be monitoring, because the mercy rule, the run rule, is still employed in the quarterfinals round. 15 or more run lead after 5 innings, game over. 10 or more runs after 7 innings, game over. So you could still keep that in mind, and that's literally the only scenario where I would see Kershaw pitching. If the U.S. just has a dominating outing, and it more than likely will be the case, because I have a feeling that the players and the coaching staff and everybody involved with USA Baseball, they want to get that monkey off their back and be like, yo, we can't allow people to start doubting us with this all-star squad that we lined up, and we were nearly eliminated. If Mexico had actually woken up and played against Italy the other day on Wednesday, it would have been a different story, but that wasn't the case. So, okay, Team USA, I wouldn't be surprised if by the 5th inning, the game was actually a 10-15 run game, and it's like, okay, might get over here. And that in that scenario, I would be pissed off if DeRosa doesn't put in Kershaw. He definitely should do it. And the players, too. Go out there and show up, show out, and give Kershaw a final chance to pitch. I don't think that he's out there just to be a little a puppet. He wants to do something. If not, he would have just been like, hey, give me a managerial position, and you can invent those. You can invent those easily.
I think he's perfectly okay with what's happened as far as like his participation in this. Had they needed him, like just listening to him talk, this was not the typically fully locked in Clayton Kershaw. This was a more avuncular Clayton Kershaw, somebody that was just a little bit more relaxed. But look, this is the knockout round. I would be surprised if you get a blowout, and I'm not saying it's impossible, but look, the Canadians would love to shock the world. They got a bunch of big leaguers on their team too. It is obviously the Americans are going to be heavily favored, but it's hard to blow somebody out in a baseball game. It's hard to get a hit. Even those guys that are minor leaguers on Team Canada are high-level minor leaguers. They're a step away from the major league. So, maybe could it happen? Sure. But I think at this point, you're more likely to get a traditional game between these two teams. And I think Kershaw's last time we see him would have been in the World Series, which is fine too.
a 3-time Cy Young Award winner, an MVP, a World Series champion, 3-time as well, one of the greatest pitchers in Dodgers history. So Kershaw's finals appearance, if it happens, might come down to the right situation appearing in the right moment. So baseball is a sport that has a lot of sense of drama in it. So I think it's going to give us one final moment on the mound for Clayton Kershaw tonight. Fingers crossed that's the case. Coming up on Locked On Dodgers, we've got a first-time caller all the way from Mexico who thinks Dodgers fans are overreacting to Roki Sasaki's spring struggles. His message? Relax.
Hey, this is Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds, and I've reached the point in my life where my wife and I are looking toward the future. We've got the house, we've got the career, we even have an awesome dog, but now we need to secure that future. That's where Ethos comes in for us. When I look at this insurance or that insurance and I try to pick one, I might as well be reading an entirely different language. Ethos clears up the noise and gets me set up with exactly what I need, because Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy, and it's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/lockedonmlb. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get a free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/lockedonmlb. That's ethos.com/lockedonmlb, ethos.com/lockedonmlb. Application times and rates may vary.
Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs help you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping that the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that tells you all you need to know. In the minute or so that we've been talking, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. When you need to cut through all of that stuff to find the right person, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this podcast will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get the job that you have the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support this show by saying you heard about it on Locked On Dodgers. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs.
Don't forget to follow us on YouTube and across all social media at Locked On Dodgers. You can find Travis at Travis Rodgers on X and Instagram. Meanwhile, with me, it's a little bit more difficult. 3 different handles, 3 different places. On X, at Harry Ruiz. On Instagram, at Harry_Ruiz. And on TikTok, at Harry Ruiz_. Relax with Roki. All right, it's time for the listener line. And today we've got a first-time caller, Michael from San Miguel de Allende, Guanajuato, Mexico, who wanted to weigh in on the conversation surrounding Roki Sasaki. His message is simple: relax.
We are big Dodger fans. I'm 72 years old. Came to Los Angeles as a 4-year-old in 1958, the same year that the Dodgers got there, and have been a Dodgers fan every year. I remember being able to see the Coliseum while the Dodgers were playing in the late 50s. Never got to go in there as a boy, but was already yearning to be part of the Dodgers family. So I'm calling to congratulate you on your great show and to thank you for giving us the opportunity to join the fun, join the party and the family on this talk line. I'm calling to speak about Roki. It's time that everybody takes a chill pill. Everybody knots that wad in their panties and just allows the wise men at the Dodgers and this very talented and earnest, fine young pitcher, and underline young, and allow him to unfold at his own rate, guided by great coaches. And as he proved today, where he struck out 4, I think, 4 guys in a row and 6 out of the 9 he faced, something like that. He looked great. So just give it time. Look what happened last year. The kid struggled all year, and then he ended up saving our season in the playoffs, especially the World Series. So thank you, Locked On Dodgers. Go Dodgers. Bleed Dodgers. And give Roki the runway that he deserves. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Shout out to Michael, who's enjoying the incredible weather down there in San Miguel de Allende. And he wants to talk about Roki Sasaki. This is a guy, Travis, that he's been 1 year with the Dodgers, and fans, since the moment he arrived in the Boys in Blue, just wanted to embrace him immediately. Unfortunately, the early results weren't possible, but just as Michael said right there in his voicemail on the Locked On Dodgers listener line, it's like, hey, without him, we don't win the World Series. And I agree on that point. Now coming back to being a starting pitcher, he's been irregular spring training. I know that you don't have a lot of stock into results when it comes to games, but it's important for him to just get his mojo back, to get back into the good feeling. And Dave Roberts pretty much said, hey, he's going to be on the opening day rotation.
Yeah, I think that you can kind of put fans into 2 buckets. The people that look at this through one lens of everything is awesome or it sucks. And then there are people that actually know what they're talking about. And Michael sounds like somebody that has a better idea of what he's talking about, that Roki Sasaki was never supposed to be a finished product when he showed up here, that you need to be patient with this guy. He's a young player who is learning. There are going to be ups and downs. There are going to be moments where he looked like he was overwhelmed, and there were. There were going to be moments where it looked like he was an elite talent, which he is. You're going to get both of those things with a young player. The fact that the Dodgers had been so successful with Otani and with Yamamoto, I think set the bar so unrealistically high because everyone else in baseball wanted to get their hands on Roki Sasaki. The bar was set unrealistically high, and people are hearing the name thinking that he was going to come over and be like Otani and Yamamoto. He never was. It's going to take time. So anybody that's disappointed with what they've seen from him is not paying attention. They don't understand the process. Michael understands the process a little better, which is you're going to get this. You're going to get ups and downs with young guys. That's how it goes. Very few people just show up in the big leagues and knock them dead from the beginning. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have days in between. And that's what Sasaki's experiencing. That's what they're going to get him in this season to pitch games somewhere down in the rotation, somewhere where there's not this, hey, we're opening the season in Japan and you get the ball in game 2 and go out there. It's like it was a very unique set of circumstances. I think this season will be far more traditional in the development of a young player. Instead of Roki Sasaki, if his name was Rick Smith, like Emmett Sheehan, we wouldn't be talking about this. We'd be talking about, hey, that guy's got a pretty good arm. I wonder what it's going to look like this year. But because the expectations were so artificially high, I think people are always going to have this a little bit wrong for the first few seasons.
That's literally what I was thinking right there. If you talk about Roki Sasaki in place of Emmett Sheehan, if he were Justin Robleski, Gavin Stone, you wouldn't be having these eyeballs on him from the moment that he hits the mound. Because like Shohei Ohtani, the moment that the Dodgers signed him, the pool reporters out of Japan covering the Dodgers increased from maybe a handful to you have a ton of people trying to cover this team from Japan or sending reports to Japan at Dodger Stadium. And then it's like, oh, Yoshinobu Yamamoto arrives. Perfect. Now we already have a beat writer, a pool reporter out there to cover the team. And then you add Roki Sasaki and it's like, okay, perfect. Now we don't just focus on Otani. We can split our focus on different guys and bam, Roki Sasaki isn't giving the dividends, but at the same time, he's not the finished product that Yoshinobu Yamamoto was when he arrived to the Dodgers. He's not the finished product that Shohei Ohtani is. Shohei Ohtani is the moment that he wears that Dodger blue jersey for the first time in 2024. So it's 3 completely different stories. In Sasaki, he's the earliest of the risers of these guys, and we got to give him a shot. I know that there's high expectations on him, and mostly because, Travis, a lot of teams were trying to get his services. A lot of teams wanted to add him to their ranks. The difference is it was going to be through a minor league contract, so not everybody could offer him the same, and he decided to go with the boys in blue because it was like, hey, some sort of commodity. Being in the West Coast, closer to Japan, being with a team that already has 2 Japanese superstars and that language barrier with them doesn't exist, and then you add the clubhouse culture, the winning culture, everything in between, and the Dodgers just set themselves up for that moment. And I agree, there's moments that I'm watching games and I'm like, man, what the hell's going on with Roki Sasaki? You just got to put it into perspective. That's something I always tell my wife. Put things into perspective, and everything, the way you think, changes. So hopefully Sasaki this year is one that he takes a step forward. This is a year that I'm hoping he's able to stay in the major leagues the whole season, and there might be growing pains, but with growing pains comes better results at the end of the day.
I don't think we're going to know whether or not he is not a good pitcher, he's an average pitcher, or he's elite for at least another couple of seasons. It's going to take some time, and it just – that's the way that it goes. And if people don't understand it, then they don't understand it. That's fine. That's not my job. My job is to talk about what I see. And he's a young pitcher that is developing. Give him time to develop.
Hey, a serviceable guy. That's what guys like Sheehan, like Robleski, like Dreyer, like Stone, that you were, okay, hopefully they can give us a good outing and get a chunk of innings, so that way we don't need a bullpen game every 5-6 days. Roki Sasaki, like I said, hopefully some results end up coming up. Like you said, I don't feel that he's going to be a superstar after this season, or a player that flunks in the major leagues after this season. Hey, let's just see what we get, and hopefully it's good results coming out of this thing right now with the boys in blue. All right, that'll do it for this week's Locked On Podcast Network's Locked On Dodgers. We'll be back on Monday. Travis, it's incredible to say Monday we kick off the final week of the year before the regular season starts in MLB. I love it. I'm happy that we're going to be able to talk about games of actually having players in good or bad situations and games that matter.
Imagine being one of those teams that have their season end at the end of September. At least we get all of October to talk about baseball. Our off season's a little shorter than some others. So it's over, and it's right around the corner. Can't wait.
Or imagine being a fan of a team that their season ends by April. Shout out to the Colorado Rockies. Yeah. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Dodgers ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to LockedOnDodgers.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On Fantasy Baseball as you gear up for the MLB season. Monday, we'll be back to talk more about the World Baseball Classic. What will Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto do over the weekend? Will Will Smith get some playing action with Team USA? Same thing with Clayton Kershaw. Will we have the potential of having U.S. versus Japan in the final? We'll be talking about it here on Locked On Dodgers. We appreciate you riding with us. Until next time, keep it real, keep it Dodger Blue.